Good afternoon, Quadcopter 101, and what I got for you today, this should be actually a neat quadcopter. This is the X300. Now, what is the X300? Well, this is a quadcopter that actually can fly position hold without the use of a GPS. Instead of a GPS, this quadcopter has a built-in optical sensor on the bottom here, which looks down at the ground and maintains its position based on objects that it sees on the ground. So if it sees the ground moving off to the left, it will move off to the left to try to maintain that position. The same if the ground's moving off to the right, based on its optical sensor, it will slide to the right to maintain its position. So in effect, it's a poor man's GPS system built into this. Now, although it can maintain its position in space without drifting, there are some limitations. It cannot do a return to home. Okay, it doesn't know where it took off from, in other words. So if you're flying around and you get lost with this, you don't have the option of having it return to home and landing for you. It'll only maintain its position in space. Additionally, if you fly above 8 meters, which is something less than 30 feet, that accuracy of that position hold starts to go out to lunch. So you got to stay close to the ground with this for the position hold to work. Other things about this quadcopter, it comes with a proprietary battery. It's a 2,000 milliamp hour battery. It does give it a lot of flight time, but again, it's a proprietary battery, which means you're going to need to buy additional batteries from XK to keep it flying. Quadcopter also has a power bar to tell you the level of power in that battery. Right now I got a full battery. It comes with a 5.8 gigahertz FPV transmitter pod, removable pod. Additionally, it records video in 720p using an SD card slot right there, and I have an SD card in there for recording video. And I still have power on this quadcopter. Let me turn that off. Let's go over the transmitter next. Being that it's a 5.8 gigahertz FPV system, it does come with a 5.8 gigahertz FPV screen. Now the frequencies are switchable by pressing this button here. You can switch between different 5.8 gigahertz frequencies if you run into frequency interference. You can also enter headless mode by holding this button down for 2 seconds. You can activate flips and do flips with this quadcopter by pressing this button and tell it which direction to flip. You can start and stop the motors by bringing both sticks down and out. You can adjust rates by pressing this button here. This button here tells it to do a takeoff, and you can start and stop videos by pressing and holding this button here, or take a photo by pressing this button here. So that's it, in effect, the nuts and bolts of it. Let's go into a flight of the X300 and see how it performs. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, I'm recording directly onto my goggles using its built-in DVR. I'm also recording using my black box here, so you can actually see what the stock screen sees in flight. I already bounded the transmitter to the quadcopter, and the way to do that is you turn on the transmitter first, and then you turn on the quadcopter. Then you do an up and down bind. Now I'm going to start the video recording by pressing down and holding this button here, and then you see function, which tells you that it is bound. So next, all we got to do is I'm going to start the motors by down and out, and then I'm going to do a takeoff by pressing this button here. I guess let's stop the motors. Let's press that button here and see if it does the same thing. No. So I guess it doesn't do automatic takeoffs. It said it does, but it doesn't. Okay, give it a throttle. Let's see it hold its position. And dang, if it isn't holding its position. Now, in addition to position hold, it also has altitude hold. So let's go a little bit higher. See it hold its position there. I do have a slight wind coming from behind my back. Okay, well, let's go out and about. Give it a little more throttle. Now keep in mind, see it's drifting to the right as I'm moving because the wind's pushing it, but if I would let go of the stick, does it maintain its position and stop drifting? Yeah, it does. It drifts for a little bit and then stops. So let's turn it back toward me. It drifts if you turn. So it takes a few seconds for it to figure out where it's at before it stops and stops its drifting. Here, let's bring it in and show you that. Letting go of the stick. It's continuing on, folks. So that position hold, I don't know. Let's try that again. Letting go of the stick, see how long it takes before it figures out where it's at. Okay, Now that may be because I'm flying on sand. Maybe sand is not the best surface area to be doing this on, but I wanted to test it. Let's try that again. We're going to come by again, coming downwind, letting go of the stick. When's it going to stop? If it stops at all. Never. It didn't stop, folks. So let's go over into the field and see if the field is less difficult area for this thing to work, because right now the sand, you know, this is sand surface. There's not much to distinguish its the ground with. It's working good right now because I stopped it. But if it was moving, it continued moving. Let's try that again. Let's give it a little blip. Now let go. Okay. But let's get it going real good now and let go. And it continues moving. And then it stopped itself. So again, you know, the sand is kind of hard for it to distinguish. Let's land it a second. Not there. I want to land it right about there. Let's hold it there. Let's press that land button and see if it does land. Well, the land button doesn't seem to be doing anything. That's higher rate. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm just going to land it. And then we're going to go over in the grass and see if that makes it easier for it to fly. And stop. Okay, hold on, folks. We'll take it over in the grass and see how it flies there. Okay, we're over in the grassy area. I'm going to take off from over there, send it into the air. My wife's getting out of the way. It doesn't really hold its position, folks. Let's see if it'll hold its position there. It's continuing on. I was hoping it would discover that it's over the grass, but, well, let's try it like this. Let's get a little lower and see if it holds its position there. Okay, I've let go. Does it maintain position? Well, now it's doing it. Okay, well, I'm going to fly FPV for a bit, using its built-in screen. Well, no, I'm going to bring it in close again. I got to look at this. This is supposed to hold its position. If you get it going real fast, it takes a while for it to figure itself out where it's at. Okay, and notice the changing color on the ground. Your ground has to have a lot of contrasting image before it will do that. It was going real fast over the bright area, and then when it hit this area here, it stopped. There's manure here. That should do the same thing. So let's see if it notices the manure. We'll turn it around, let go of the stick and see if it notices it going over the manure. No, it's continuing on down the across the field. Going on and on and on. So, not entirely effective. Interesting technology, but you better know your orientation techniques. Okay, it stopped itself over there. Let's get it going again. Get it going good. Let go of the stick. Let's see how far it goes before it stops. Okay, right there it noticed a patch of ground that it liked and it stopped itself. So eventually it does stop itself, but it might drift for quite a bit before it does. Let's see it right now. Let go of the stick. See how far it goes before it stops, and stops itself right about there. So, all in all, interesting technology. XK is a brand of WL toys, Wiley toys. Normally they have new and advanced technologies that they want to throw into a quadcopter, and they test them with XK. So if you've got an XK product, it's usually a new technology that they're trying out. XK, one of my viewers told me, you know, notice the letters XK. X is the next letter after W, and K is the next letter before L. So for WL, you know, it's letting you know that they do belong to WL toys. Like JGRC. The JGRC is also another sub-brand of WL toys. Let them go. Let's see if the manure. Notice the manure. It stops there. So sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Well, let's take it up high, folks. Show you its camera around this area here. The altitude hold works well, for one. The position hold, not as well. Let's see if it holds its position from way up there. No. It's drifting. So again, you know, they say the accuracy is only good up to about 8 meters. Well, I'm above 8 meters right now, and no, it's not holding its position. I am right at about 30 meters. Well, let's come back down and we'll try its acrobatics or its maneuverability. You can fly this with goggles. I'm recording using my goggles on the ground here. I got a pair of goggles that does have DVR recording, so I'm recording it. I hope it's coming through, so I'll show you both. For those of you who wish to use goggles instead of the provided screen, because the screens can be hard to see in daylight. Okay, let's go to a higher rate here, folks. This is expert rate. Let's see how it flies at expert rate. You know, this does have, it appears to have Tarantula motors in it. Tarantula X6 motors. So they shouldn't be too hard to find or to change out. Oh. Somebody said this was not acrobatic. I take that back. It's not too bad. It's not bad. Who said this wasn't acrobatic? It wasn't me. It's a good flyer, actually, in high rate. So, let's forget about the position hold. This is just an overall good quadcopter with a camera and 5.8 Ghz FPV. Okay, I'm not going to do too many more flips. Let's see, what else do we got to do here? I did the video. It's holding its position right there. I'm about good 10 feet in the air right now. So 10 feet it holds its position. Let's come down lower. Show this thing up close. Hold your position. Now let's see what happens if I put my hand underneath it. Hold its position in my hand. What if I move my hand to the right? Does it follow my hand? Kinda. Interesting. This is doing a good job of holding its position. Hello there, 720p camera. Should be looking right at me. Well, another thing, that 2,000 milliampere battery does give it a lot of good flight time. It's flying for a damn long time. Let's land it for a second now. I'm going to put the goggles on. And I'll put this hat on my wife's head. I'll just let it hover there. And where's my wife? Hold on. Let me put this on my wife's head. And I'm going to put the goggles on, hon. I'm going to fly this with goggles. And I have the goggles over here. And they are recording. Let me switch to DVR. Oh, hold on, folks. Camera, DVR, well, it don't matter. Taking my glasses off. That thing's hovering in the air. Look at that over there. Goggles going on. Okay, flying strictly FPV now. Enjoy the flight. Is that people over there? Oh no, that's an object on the ground. The camera, FPV camera itself, isn't the best. I'll give you that. I'm looking through it and it's not really high definition. Well, maybe it's my goggles too. Let's see if I can fly FPV through the trees. Coming down a little lower. Going through the trees and the breeze. Yeah. Going up higher. Flying FPV with it. Going up higher. I want to go over the trees. Coming back. Yeah, we should be overhead. And coming down again. Okay, just wanted to try flying with goggles. Coming down, lowering it, lowering it, lowering it, lowering it. Let's see if it holds its position. How about right there? Okay. Neat. Now, let me take those goggles back for my wife. And I'm curious how much more flight time I got on this thing. That battery lasts a long time on this particular quadcopter. Okay, it's still recording. Let's bring it back over. This is a long flyer. You know, although its position hold might not be as well performing as some might hope, you know, it does work kind of. If you slow it down, it's holding its position. It's just, again, you know, if you get it going and let go of the stick, it might drift a bit before it finally stops itself there. Let's go that way. And it continues and continues and continues and then stops. Coming back toward my position. Continues. Continuing, continuing, continuing. And when will it stop? Right about there. So, overall, you know, yeah. Let's go back to flying it, acrobatic flying. It does fly well, I'll give you that. Some said, I don't know what they're talking about. This thing flies very well. You know, some other reviewers didn't like its acrobatics, but I think it flies very well, to tell you the truth. Very, very well, to tell you the truth. Let's get it going good. Double flip. But I really don't want to fly the bat out of hell because I don't have any Tarantula motors in stock right now. So let's go down the field. Since this has such big motors on it, you can stick better camera on there. Well, you know, not a GoPro, but you could put Mobius on there easily, or a run cam. And that's my next project, is to throw a much better camera on this thing, because it is a good flyer. I'm enjoying flying it, and I'm enjoying the flight time I'm getting out of it. Maybe a better FPV cam. Well, I ain't gonna do that, but I will throw Mobius on it for a future flight. Okay, I guess that battery's getting low now. There's what happens when its battery runs out. It lands itself. Well, that's a lot better than it dropping from the sky, ain't it? So that's its flight time, folks. That was a pretty damn good flight time, to tell you the truth. And I enjoyed flying it. Am I still recording? Yeah, my screen's still showing up. And I see myself walking toward it. So, all in all, what do I think X300? I do kind of like it. I do kind of like it. It flies very well. Flies reminiscent of the Tarantula, I think, in my opinion, with a 5.8 gigahertz FPV system and a position hold system that kind of works. It doesn't always work, but it kind of works sometimes. So overall, I do kind of like it. So this is Quadcopter 101. Hope you enjoyed this flight. Quadcopter 101, signing out.